Hey, welcome back. Today, we're totally diving into La Diablesse. From the shadowy depths of Caribbean folklore, a figure emerges, both enchanting and terrifying. A whisper on the wind that carries a tale of caution, a story told to wandering husbands and late-night revelers. She is known by many names across the islands, but her essence remains the same. A beautiful woman with a dark secret, a harbinger of doom for the unwary. She is La Diablesse, the devil woman. The name itself, derived from French, whispers of her diabolical nature, a stark warning woven into the very fabric of Trinidadian, Martiniquan, Dominican, and St. Lucian oral traditions. Her story is not merely a ghost tale to frighten children. It is a complex narrative about morality, temptation, and the perilous consequences of straying from the path of righteousness. She represents the seductive allure of the forbidden, a beautiful facade hiding a terrifying truth, a potent symbol in a culture rich with cautionary tales and supernatural beings. To encounter her is to stand at a crossroads between desire and destruction, a test of character from which many men never return. Her legend has endured for generations, passed down from grandmother to grandchild, a chilling reminder that in the deep, dark woods, some things are more than they appear, and the most beautiful flower can often hide the deadliest poison. La Diablesse is a master of deception, her appearance a carefully constructed illusion designed to ensnare the senses and cloud judgment. Her most notable and horrifying feature is a cloven hoof, the undeniable mark of her demonic origin. This she keeps meticulously hidden beneath the generous folds of a long, flowing skirt, its hem sweeping the ground to conceal her unholy secret. Anyone who catches a glimpse of this deformity would instantly recognize her for what she is, but her charm and grace are such that few ever think to look down. She is the epitome of timeless elegance and colonial-era fashion. Observers often describe her wearing a traditional Martiniquan-style dress, a douillette, complete with layers of petticoats and adorned with exquisite gold jewelry that glints in the moonlight, catching the eye and holding the gaze. Her most defining accessory is a large, wide-brimmed hat, often tilted at a coquettish angle and shrouded by a delicate veil. This veil is not merely a fashion statement. It serves a sinister purpose, obscuring her face from direct view. The legends diverge on what lies beneath. Some say her face is that of a corpse, a grotesque tableau of decay and death, while others claim she has no face at all, only a void that stares back into the soul of her victim. This ambiguity only adds to her mystique and the terror she inspires. Perhaps the most unsettling aspect of La Diablesse is the duality of her scent, a bizarre and contradictory perfume that both attracts and repels. Those who have encountered her and lived to tell the tale speak of an intoxicating aroma that precedes her, a fragrance like the most expensive Parisian perfumes, a blend of rare flowers and exotic spices that promises luxury and sensual delight. It is this scent that first captures a man's attention, drawing him in, making him believe he has stumbled upon a woman of great beauty and refinement. It is a siren's call to the senses, an olfactory trap that disarms and enchants. However, interwoven with this beautiful fragrance is another, more sinister smell. It is the faint but unmistakable stench of the grave, the foul odor of decaying flesh and damp earth. This macabre undercurrent is often missed at first, masked by the overpowering perfume. But as one draws closer, it becomes more apparent, a nauseating hint of the corruption that lies beneath her glamorous exterior. This olfactory paradox is a perfect metaphor for La Diablesse herself, a beautiful illusion masking a horrifying reality, a promise of paradise that leads only to rot and ruin. It is the smell of temptation and death, inextricably linked, a final, subtle warning to those with the wisdom to heed it. The encounter with La Diablesse almost always unfolds under the cloak of night, typically on lonely country roads or at the edge of a dense forest. Places where a man might find himself alone after a night of carousing. Her targets are specific. She does not prey on the innocent. Instead, she seeks out men who are unfaithful to their wives, those given to lustful thoughts, or individuals whose senses are dulled by drink. She appears as if from nowhere, a solitary, beautiful figure standing by the roadside, seemingly in distress or simply waiting for a companion. Her voice is as enchanting as her appearance, and with a few soft-spoken words, she captivates her chosen victim. Mesmerized by her apparent beauty and sophisticated charm, the man is all too eager to offer his assistance or company. He forgets his wife at home, his responsibilities, and all sense of caution. She will ask him to accompany her home, promising rewards for his chivalry, and he, blinded by lust and her bewitching spell, willingly follows. She leads him away from the familiar road and onto a dark, winding path into the forest, deeper and deeper into the wilderness, with every step the sounds of the village fading behind them. Once she has led her victim far from the safety of civilization, deep within the tangled labyrinth of the forest, where no light can penetrate and no cry for help can be heard, the final act of her terrifying play begins. The man, lost and disoriented, might finally begin to feel a sense of unease. It is at this moment of dawning horror that La Diablesse reveals her true nature. In some versions of the tale, she simply vanishes into thin air, leaving the man utterly alone, hopelessly lost in the unforgiving wilderness. He is left to wander for days, slowly succumbing to madness, starvation, or the dangers of the forest. In other, more horrific accounts, she allows the veil to drop. The beautiful face is replaced by a skeletal, rotting visage, and with a triumphant, cackling laugh, she lifts her skirt to reveal the monstrous cloven hoof. The shock of this revelation is often enough to drive a man insane on the spot. Terrified, he might flee blindly through the undergrowth, only to stumble off a precipice or fall into a deep ravine, his death a direct result of a cruel machination. The victims of La Diablesse are rarely found, and if they are, their minds are often broken beyond repair, forever haunted by the memory of the beautiful woman who led them to their doom. Despite the power of her enchantment, the legends offer a glimmer of hope. A few desperate measures one can take to break her spell and escape her clutches, according to the most widely known piece of folklore. The most effective way to protect oneself is to take off one's clothes and turn them inside out before putting them back on. This seemingly bizarre act is believed to confuse the spirit, breaking her magical hold and rendering the potential victim invisible to her or simply uninteresting. It's just a total flip, you know, to break her spooky power. Some stories also suggest that the bright, sudden flame of a lit match can startle and repel her, the light being anathema to her dark nature. Another purported method of escape is to walk away from her backward, never turning your back completely, and making the sign of the cross as you retreat. These remedies, passed down through generations, serve as more than just supernatural trivia. They are a part of the moral lesson. They imply that escaping temptation requires a conscious, deliberate, and sometimes counterintuitive action, turning away from the path you are on, a reversal of your course. It is a final, desperate chance to choose righteousness over ruin, a way to walk back from the cliff's edge before it is too late. The legend of La Diablesse, in all its terrifying detail, thus concludes not just with a warning, but with a manual for survival, a guide for navigating the dark woods of human temptation. Let's learn from each other. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Ever heard of La Diablesse in the folklore of the Caribbean? Especially places like Trinidad and Martinique. She's a name that sends a shiver down your spine. Legend says she was once a beautiful woman who made a deal with the devil for eternal youth. The price, her soul, and one of her legs transformed into a cow's hoof. She appears on lonely roadsides or at village dances. A tall, stunning woman dressed in a long, elegant gown and a wide-brimmed hat to hide her face. Her one human foot peeks out, drawing you closer, while the hoof is hidden. She lures unsuspecting men deep into the forest with her charm, leading them to their doom or driving them mad. This captivating character is a blend of French, African, and Tano influences, a haunting reminder of the rich and complex history of the Caribbean. So next time you're on a quiet island road at night, be careful who you meet. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Have you ever heard the chilling tales whispered on the Caribbean breeze? Stories of a figure so beautiful, she could steal your heart, and then your very soul. Today, we're diving deep into the legend of La Diablesse, the she-devil of Caribbean folklore. Imagine this. You're walking down a lonely road in Martinique, maybe after a lively village dance. The air is thick with the scent of night-blooming jasmine. Up ahead, you see a silhouette, a tall, incredibly beautiful woman, her face hidden by a wide-brimmed hat, her long, elegant dress sweeping the ground. She beckons you closer with a mysterious smile. You're captivated, utterly enchanted. You feel an irresistible pull to follow her, but there's something you don't see. Beneath that long dress, one of her legs ends, not in a delicate foot, but in a cloven cow's hoof. This is La Diablesse. She is the ultimate seductress, a supernatural femme fatale who preys on unsuspecting men. She lures them away from the safety of the village, leading them deeper and deeper into the dense, dark forest or toward a perilous cliff edge. The men, blinded by her beauty and charm, follow willingly. Once she has them completely lost and alone, she reveals her true, terrifying form before vanishing, leaving her victims to wander to their doom, either lost forever or falling to their death. It's a cautionary tale, a stark warning against the dangers of temptation and straying too far from the righteous path. But where did this frightening and fascinating character come from? The story of La Diablesse is a rich tapestry woven from diverse cultural threads. Her origins can be traced back to a fascinating blend of French, African, and indigenous Taino influences. The name itself, La Diablesse, is French for the she-devil. The concept likely traveled to the Caribbean with French settlers and sailors, who brought their own European folklore of seductive, demonic women with them. However, this European seed was planted in the fertile ground of African and Taino spiritual beliefs. Many West African traditions, brought over during the transatlantic slave trade, feature powerful female spirits and trickster figures. These spirits often serve as guardians of the natural world and enforcers of social and moral codes. Similarly, the indigenous Taino people of the Caribbean had their own rich mythology filled with supernatural beings tied to nature. Over time, these different belief systems merged and syncretized. The French she-devil took on new characteristics, becoming a uniquely Caribbean figure. Her connection to the wilderness, her role as a punisher of infidelity or hubris, and her specific physical traits, like the cow's hoof, a common sign of the demonic in many cultures, all reflect this incredible fusion. She is not just a monster, she is a product of history, a symbol of the cultural crossroads that is the Caribbean. The legend of La Diablesse served a practical purpose as well. It was a way for communities to enforce social norms. The stories were often told to discourage men from adultery, drunkenness, or wandering about late at night. For women, it was a tale that subtly reinforced the idea of the proper woman versus the dangerous, wild seductress. It was a form of social control, wrapped in a terrifying and unforgettable narrative. It kept people on the well-lit paths, both literally and metaphorically. Even today, the story of La Diablesse continues to captivate. She appears in literature, art, and film, a powerful symbol of dangerous beauty and untamed nature. She reminds us that some of the most enduring legends are born from the complex interplay of cultures and the timeless human fears of the unknown that lurks just beyond the firelight. So, if you ever find yourself on a quiet Caribbean road at night and see a beautiful stranger, you might want to check her feet before you lose your way. What do you think about the legend of La Diablesse? Are there similar figures in your local folklore? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into mythology, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories from around the world. See you next time. Have you ever heard the tales whispered in the shadows of Trinidad? Stories of a figure so beautiful, yet so terrifying. She haunts the very soul of the island's folklore. Her name is La Diablesse, and tonight, we're diving deep into the chilling legend of this captivating deep. The name itself, La Diablesse, is French, and it translates quite literally to the she-devil. It's a fitting title for a spirit who embodies both seduction and pure malevolence. She wanders the rural landscapes, the lonely country roads, and the dense forests, forever hunting for her next unsuspecting victim. Picture this, a stunning woman, her features almost impossibly captivating. She's dressed elegantly in a long flowing gown, and her face is alluring, hidden beneath a wide-brimmed hat decorated with flowers and feathers. She seems shy, almost vulnerable, as she appears before a lone traveler on a dark road. But don't be fooled by this enchanting image. Beneath her beautiful dress, she hides a grotesque secret. Her left leg is not human at all. It's the cloven hoof of a cow. As she walks, the sound isn't the gentle tap of a lady's shoe, but a heavy, unsettling clock that echoes through the night. This deformity is the mark of her infernal origins, a constant reminder that she is a creature of darkness, not of this world. La Diablesse is a true master of deception. She uses her irresistible beauty and charm to target men, especially those who might be looking for a little romance where they shouldn't be. With an enchanting voice and a smile that could disarm anyone, she lures her chosen victim away from safety. She'll lead him deeper and deeper into the forest, further from the path, until he is hopelessly lost. Once she has him where she wants him, lost and alone in the darkness, she reveals her true, terrifying form. Some say she abandons her victims to be devoured by wild beasts. Others say they fall to their deaths from a cliff, or simply go mad from the horror of it all. Whatever their fate, they are never seen again. So, where did this terrifying legend come from? The story of La Diablesse is a fascinating blend of cultures, deeply woven into the fabric of Trinidad and Tobago's history. It pulls from African, French, and indigenous Amerindian folklore, creating a uniquely Caribbean horror story. The legend likely began to take shape during the colonial era, a time when the island was a melting pot of different beliefs and traditions. One theory traces her origins to the fusion of African and European mythologies. Many West African traditions feature stories of shape-shifting spirits and malevolent entities that take human form to trick and torment mortals. These tales would have traveled to the Caribbean with enslaved Africans. When mixed with European stories of demons and devils, often depicted with animalistic features like hooves, the character of La Diablesse began to emerge. The French influence is obvious in her name and her elegant, colonial-era attire, connecting her to the French Creole culture that was prominent on the island. For Trinidadians, La Diablesse is more than just a spooky story to tell around a campfire. She is a powerful symbol, a cautionary tale passed down through generations. She represents the dangers that lurk in the shadows, the fatal consequences of temptation, and the allure of forbidden beauty. Her legend serves as a stark warning against straying from the path, both literally and morally. It's a timeless reminder of the eternal struggle between good and evil, and the darkness that can lie hidden behind a beautiful face. The story of La Diablesse continues to thrive, a vital part of the island's cultural identity. So, if you ever find yourself walking a lonely road in Trinidad at night and see a beautiful woman in a wide-brimmed hat, you might want to turn and walk the other way. You never know what might be hiding beneath that long, flowing dress. Thanks for joining me on this journey into Trinidadian folklore. If you enjoyed this story, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next dive into the world's most fascinating myths and legends. See you next time.